What's up, everybody? It's Codeine. Thank you so much for being here. On this channel, we do a plethora of magic stuff, mostly buy rare cards, open secret layers. We're getting into the deck tech game. We play Historic Brawl, and we do some occasional box openings and miscellaneous content such as this. If you want to see any of that, please subscribe. I'm really trying to get to 1,000. It would mean the world to me. But today we're going to go over the banned and restricted announcement. Very important day for a lot of people, especially the competitive crowd, and maybe you want to buy some of these cards up that they will not be in formats, so therefore people don't want them as badly. So you can scoop them up for your EDH decks, no matter how competitive. So we're going to start. Pioneer. Karn the Great Creator is banned, and Geological Appraiser is banned. I was thinking Karn was going to, and Smuggler's Copter is unbanned, which I like to see cards get unbanned more than I like to see cards get banned, because the times change, people move on, and I know it's something like Pioneer where it's not as extensive as Modern. Usually things banned in Modern shouldn't be unbanned. They're banned for a reason. Modern's a very old format, but Pioneer is a perfect middle ground of old and new. So seeing these cards get banned, we'll see why. I really don't get why this is banned. Discover being a powerful thing on a 3-2, we'll see what they say. Fury is banned, one of the evocations, and Up the Beanstalk. If you don't know, this Up the Beanstalk card is from Eldraine, and it is a doozy. I'm covering it up. So whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. And just to keep this clear on how this works with all the elemental evocations, which to my knowledge all see play in Modern in some form, they count even when you cast for the evoke cost, because you're casting it for its evoke cost. The spell still costs 5 mana. So you can see why it's banned pretty decisively. This card, Up the Beanstalk, was kind of blown away by. It was starting to become a $5 uncommon. So I'm get to scoop one up for my EDH deck now. Thank you very much, Wizards. Explorer, which is just Pioneer Light. Karn's banned there too, and Geological Appraiser's banned there. In Pauper, I didn't know they banned cards in Pauper. Monastery Swiftspear. How often do they ban cards in Modern? I mean, I get it. It's just mono red aggro. Usually mono red is cheap to the ground in terms of rarity, so having a card that's 1 mana haste and prowess, I could see being oppressive very quickly. Doesn't take much convincing there. But let's see why they banned Karn, especially in some of the newer formats, because I could see why maybe in Modern they decided to ban Karn, but not really, because its win rate isn't super through the roof. But let's see. So they have this video. I'm going to try and make it a lot shorter than their video. So Standard, they like Standard. No bans, obviously, so that means they like it. They like it just the way it is. Not much to talk about. So Pioneer. We want Pioneer to provide as diverse an experience as possible. It's a place where you have fun using cards from past Standard environments without content being printed directly into it or having content naturally rotate out of it. Well, content is printed directly into it because it's Standard sets, but we'll keep going. Last time, blah, 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 even though the metagame shared and win rate of Mono Green Nykthos deck have been within a reasonable range, the deck, so it's not win rate, has been a large component of the Pioneer metagame for most of the format's lifetime. I could see that. Karn the Great Creator, capable of finding threats and solutions to whatever deck it encounters. So that's really the important part. This deck seemed too good against everything, and Karn just being able, having copious amounts of mana with Mono Green Nykthos, you just play Karn and you get whatever. Your sideboard is 15 cards. You get any of the cards that's good against the meta game, and you shut your opponent out of the game. Very, I could see that as being borderline oppressive and definitely unfun to play against Karn. So I could see it. Yeah, it just says Karn's range is so broad. It can facilitate convoluted infinite combos and make the format less approachable at little to no opportunity cost. I agree with that. Well, the opportunity cost is you don't get a sideboard, but when you're playing mono green, those mono green players will try and lie to you. Even in EDH, mono green is the most solitaire deck in Magic, even more than mono red. And incoming triggered people, incoming mad people. Mono green is solitaire. I don't care what anyone says. Mono green is solitaire. But let's continue. The introduction of the Lost Caverns at Ixalan brought new toys. The Discover mechanic feature on cards such as the one they banned, the Dino, and the Elephant guy. I didn't see that art before. It's cool art. It seems like Secret Lair art, but I digress. It's going to rise with brand new strategies that don't play any other cards naturally, costing 4 or less. Aside from cloning effects, when left undisturbed, these decks can either produce enough creatures to win your combat or enough Notorious triggers to deal lethal damage to an opponent directly. Being able to win the game on the spot with turn 3 after creating a single treasure token. It's a bit too much pressure on folks to be a good thing for long-term health of the format. I want to see this deck. Geological Appraiser deck. What does this deck look like? I don't want budget. I want to see the deck that rampaged. I want to see the deck that rampaged Modern. So Glasspool mix. Oh, so you copy it. You copy it and it does it again. And it's not legendary. You create treasure and write a bunch of copies so you just get it and then win. And you play Creative Outburst, create treasure. You can play Reduce and Rubble. Incubation. Right, so this deck just plays Appraiser. You get to play Karuga. You just play Appraiser, copy it a trillion bajillion. You try and search for it with these cards, but you don't have to play cantrips because this is on a creature. So okay, I get it. You play the 4 mana guy, and then you get infinite 4 mana guys. And you play the treasure, kill people on turn 3 or 4 or whatnot. So yeah, that it just problem card. This sort of and the fact that this is an uncommon and not legendary sort of really shows, in my opinion, short-sightedness on the card development department. Because that seemed not that hard to figure out if you're just Modern genius. You know, if you're just Modern player, the guy, the GOAT of Modern, I feel like this deck wasn't hard to figure out. All due respect. It just seems like you play this, clone it, and then kill your opponent in one turn. It just... How do you fuck it up? You know, you just play this one card, and you play your whole deck. It's like you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At that point. They ban Smuggler's Copter. Every time they unban a card, it's the same thing. This part is just verbal slop, though, because and provide additional diversity. That's just word filler. That's trying to get to 30 words on your essay type shit. If they added any card that was broken enough, it would provide additional diversity, because the deck is not part of the meta game, and now it is. So it's diversity. This is just verbal slop. But every time they unban a card, just copy and paste this shit and just fucking replace Smuggler's Copter with whatever they're currently unbanning, and you're done. There's nothing to talk about. The card was broken. They don't think it's as bad anymore at the end. So Modern Fury's banned and Up the Beanstalk's banned. I get why Up the Beanstalk's banned, because the Elemental Evocations, it replaces itself, so it turns this discarding a card from your hand into nothing because of the Beanstalk replaces itself. So there's one card, and then every time you elemental evocation, you draw the card. So the downside to the evocation is no longer discarding a card. You're in fact looting because you're discarding a card you didn't want and you're drawing a random card from your deck. I guess that's technically rummaging, but it's a free replacement. And then if you do it again, you are drawing cards at this point. So I could see that. I'm sort of in the loop with Modern, so it's pretty easy to see. But I want to know exactly why they're choosing to ban Fury. So let's just see. Fury, most often played, opponent's board makes with creatures nearly impossible. Rakdos, Evoke, and also, to be clear, there is Fury, and there's a lot of 1-mana black instants that'll revive a creature that just died. So what you'll do with Fury is evoke it. With Beanstalk or not, you'll evoke it for free, 0 mana, and you play this 1-mana black instant, and it'll come back again. So you really get 2 Fury triggers, and it doesn't die. Very oppressive if you're playing a creature-based strategy, especially the low to the ground one. At bay, and for the reason Fury is banned in Modern. Yeah, so Fury is keeping several diverse and interesting strategies at bay. Anything that uses small creatures, or hell, big creatures, you get 8 mana. Or 8 mana. You get 8 damage to divide as you see fit. So it's not even small creature strategies. It's just creature strategies are fucked by Fury. So, but then there's Solitude. Oh, and there we go, Solitude. Why don't they ban Solitude? For the same reason. See, Not Dead After All. This is one of those cards I was just referring to. Not Dead After All. And what it does is exactly what I said. You get it back. Yeah, until end of turn, gains when this creature dies, return it to the battlefield, tapped under its owner control, create a wicked roll token attached to it. So, and there's a bunch of cards like this. This is not the only card like this. You can have a whole deck that's just this. But let's see why they chose not to ban Solitude, because Solitude does the same thing, kinda, but on bigger creatures. Without Fury, the opportunity cost of playing so many different undying effects increases, reducing consistency and becoming a real cost to include. It's possible these decks begin to transform into white versions that utilize Solitude and or Ephemerate. Exile target creature you control and return. So double bounce. Ephemerate double bounces. However, a rebought Solitude is not as threatening as a 4/4 with double strike. It has lifelink, yeah. It's a 3/2. So, and yeah. It's not as threatening, but I think it's equally as oppressive. I think maybe a sideboard strategy, which they like sideboard strategies because you change your deck immensely to fight your opponent. I think they would like that because you get a 15 card sideboard. If Solitude and Ephemerate are in your sideboard, there's 8 cards. Yeah, so we'll see. But I feel like if you're playing creature strategies, this is equally as oppressive as Fury. And especially if removing Fury slows down the meta, then this combo will be even better than it is currently because people will maybe be willing to play bigger creatures. Because, like I said, that Fury Death Blink trick really does a lot of damage. It does 8 damage. But Solitude just gets rid of it. In fact, doesn't matter if they gain life, because if you kill them, then whatever. If they don't have anything to kill you, then you just kill them. It's math. And Ephemerate, man, that's such a good card. We believe the removal of Fury will widen the format, allowing players to explore additional strategies, especially with low toughness creatures. Absolutely agree. Finally, the overall Rakdos effective will likely reduce the number of grease. So they're just trying to nerf the deck. And they're saying this will equalize these 2 other broken cards. That's fair. Up the Beanstalk's one of them. Yeah, up the Beanstalk with these evocations. Even if they removed like one of the better ones, it just, like how I was just explaining it, it just seems very good. Just seems very good. is more advantageous. Crushing foothills, living end, of the beanstalk, it's gone. So legacy, they didn't change anything in legacy, so I'm not really gonna go over it. This is just they put something here so they could say something. And same thing with vintage. Explorer, each card banned in Pioneer that is available on MTG Arena is also banned in Explorer, because Explorer is just Pioneer Light. To maintain this, Karn, a great creator, and banned in Modern as well. Note Smuggler's Copter, now unbanned in Pioneer, is not available in Arena. Is Smuggler's Copter just not in Arena because it was too powerful? I mean, I guess they just didn't add it in. They just never added it in the Kaladesh expansion because it would only see play in Historic and Explorer, so it was powerful enough to get banned in Pioneer, and Historic is a weaker format than Pioneer, so they just didn't add it so you wouldn't open it. I think they should get everyone free Smuggler's Copters on Arena. I think that would be cool. Because now you can play it. Now it's unbanned, so we should be able to try it. And that they didn't say shit. They were Popper. They said, fuck Monastery Swiftspear. That's so funny. They didn't even ban cards in Vintage. And look at how much text they wrote. They didn't even try to verbal slop some fucking word count into Popper. They just said, fuck Monastery Swiftspear. That's so funny to me. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. I try to keep it quick, but we're still at 17 minutes, but it's all good. Thank you so much for being here. Have a good day.